One relationship shatters. One decision changes everything. And by the end of this finale, nothing in Landman will feel stable again. Episode 10 doesn't slowly build toward chaos, it drops us straight into it. Loyalties crack, love collapses, and power quietly changes hands. This is not just a season finale. This is the moment where Landman draws a hard line between who survives and who gets left behind. The finale opens under a heavy emotional cloud. Nothing feels safe anymore, especially for Cooper. After everything he has endured this season, failure, pressure, love, guilt, he finally reaches the breaking point. The episode wastes no time reminding us that actions have consequences, even when intentions are pure. Cooper is no longer just fighting for his future in the oil business. He is fighting for his freedom, his reputation, and the person he loves most. The tension surrounding Cooper and Ariana has been building quietly for episodes, but here it finally explodes. What once felt like a supportive, healing relationship now feels fragile and strained. Ariana is scared, exhausted, and emotionally drained. Cooper, on the other hand, is stuck between anger and guilt. He wants to protect her, but every step he takes seems to pull her deeper into danger. The fear of prison, court cases, and public exposure hangs over them like a storm cloud that refuses to move. The shocking breakup doesn't come from hatred or betrayal. It comes from fear. Ariana realizes that staying with Cooper might destroy both of them. She loves him, but love is no longer enough to shield them from what's coming. The moment they separate is quiet, painful, and deeply human. There are no dramatic screams, no explosive arguments, just the kind of silence that hurts more than shouting ever could. Cooper doesn't beg, Ariana doesn't blame. They both understand that this is happening because the world around them has become too dangerous. This breakup sends shockwaves through the rest of the episode. Cooper is now completely alone at the worst possible time. Without Ariana by his side, he is forced to confront his problems head-on. The strong, hopeful version of Cooper we once knew feels distant. In his place stands a man who realizes that one mistake, no matter how justified, can erase years of hard work. The episode makes it clear that even if Cooper avoids prison, his life will never fully return to what it was. At the same time, this emotional collapse mirrors what's happening across the entire Landman world. Relationships are breaking everywhere, not just romantic ones. Trust between business partners is gone. Loyalty inside MTEX is cracking. And Tommy, standing at the center of all this chaos, begins to realize that losing his job was only the beginning of something much worse. As the section closes, one truth becomes unavoidable. Episode 10 is not about fixing problems. It's about watching them finally come apart. The breakup is just the first crack, and once it appears, everything else starts to fall through it. With Cooper reeling from heartbreak and fear, the shadow of Galino looms larger than ever. This is where tension shifts from the personal to the perilous. Galino isn't just a threat in the boardroom. He's a constant reminder that power, wealth, and influence come with consequences that no one can escape. His manipulation is subtle but relentless. Every glance, every word, every suggestion carries the weight of someone who knows exactly how far to push. Tommy feels the pressure almost immediately. The episode wastes no time showing Galino's cold precision. After Tommy challenges him over MTEX's failing operations, Galino leans in with a quiet threat that chills the room. This isn't a threat anyone would laugh off. It's calculated, cold, and designed to make Tommy understand that failure isn't an option. At least, not if he wants the people he loves to survive unscathed. The stakes rise when the conversation turns to Cooper's oil wells. Galino's interest in these wells isn't financial, it's strategic. He knows that Cooper's potential imprisonment would leave a vacuum, and he's prepared to use Tommy as a pawn to fill it. This creates a high-stakes triangle where loyalty, trust, and fear collide. Tommy must navigate Galino's manipulations without losing himself or the people he cares about. Every decision, even the smallest one, could ignite irreversible consequences. Meanwhile, tension inside MTEX reaches a boiling point. Cammy's choices, firing Tommy, ignoring the wisdom of those who truly understand Monty's philosophy, have left cracks in the company that are impossible to ignore. Employees are nervous. Alliances are forming in secret, and the once solid foundation of MTEX feels like it could collapse with a single misstep. The episode highlights the fragility of power. Galino may have resources, but even he knows that the wrong push at the wrong time could cost him everything. The beauty of this section is how it blends personal and professional danger. Cooper is emotionally vulnerable, Tommy is professionally cornered, and Galino is patient but deadly. Suspense isn't built through action alone. It's built in the moments between words, in the subtle threats, in the quiet awareness that every character's next move could trigger disaster. By the end of this section, the audience feels the tightening grip of tension. Nothing is stable, nothing is safe, and everyone is walking a thin line above a chasm that could open at any moment. As Section 2 closes, viewers are left with the understanding that Episode 10 will challenge every character's limits. Loyalty will be tested, fear will dominate, and even the strongest personalities will face moments of doubt. Galino isn't just a character, he's the embodiment of pressure that makes the season finale feel like a high-wire act without a net. If you're ready, I can move on and draft Section 3, which will focus on Tommy's personal battles, MTEX's internal collapse, and how the stakes escalate even further. Tommy stands at the eye of a storm that has been quietly building all season. Being fired from MTEX is only the first layer of a crisis that will define his future, and potentially the fate of everyone around him. The episode wastes no time showing the ripple effects of this seismic shift. Without Tommy, the company begins to falter almost immediately. Operations that once ran smoothly now stumble under inexperienced hands. Mistakes accumulate, and the employees who once trusted his judgment are left confused, anxious, and directionless. The personal consequences hit even harder. Tommy's relationships, which have been central to the show, are tested in ways the audience didn't expect. Angela, ever loyal, is shaken by the sudden upheaval. Her love for Tommy is unquestioned, but this new reality challenges her sense of security. For someone who has relied on structure, predictability, and trust, the chaos surrounding Tommy's job loss becomes deeply personal. Angela's determination to support him clashes with the fear of losing the life they've built together. At the same time, Annesley and other close allies must grapple with the fallout. These characters were once thriving under Tommy's leadership and influence. Without him, they feel untethered. Their attempts to hold MTEX together are admirable but ultimately insufficient. This is where the episode's suspense becomes almost unbearable. The audience watches as the very institution that defined the character's power and success begins to crumble. Meanwhile, Tommy himself faces a profound internal struggle. The man who has spent seasons building authority, influence, and respect is suddenly stripped of all formal control. Yet the episode shows that his value wasn't solely in his title, it was in his insight, his intuition, and his ability to read people and situations. This gives Tommy a unique, albeit dangerous, kind of leverage. Even without official power, he becomes a threat to those who underestimate him, including Galino, who assumes Tommy's absence will make his manipulations simpler. The tension escalates further when the episode teases the consequences of Cammie's decisions. By firing Tommy, she not only undermines MTEX's stability, but also alienates the very people who kept the company alive. Nate, Dale, and even Cooper, who had been instrumental in managing the new oil wells, begin questioning their loyalty to MTEX. Rebecca, who has shared countless moments of support with Tommy, starts to distance herself from the company as well. The audience feels the inevitability of collapse. The dominoes are lined up, and it's only a matter of time before they fall. By the end of this section, the episode paints a vivid picture of systemic failure intertwined with personal turmoil. Every character's choices reverberate through both their private lives and professional spheres. Tommy is more than just unemployed. He is a symbol of what happens when a pivotal figure is removed from the equation. And MTEX, once a stronghold of strategy and power, is revealed as fragile, vulnerable, and poised on the edge of destruction. Suspense doesn't just lie in the fear of what will happen next. It lies in the audience's awareness that even small mistakes could trigger a total collapse. Section 3 closes with a chilling realization. Tommy's absence isn't just a setback, it's the start of a chain reaction. Friendships, alliances, and loyalties are unraveling at the seams, leaving the audience on edge, waiting for the first spark that will ignite full-blown chaos. If you're ready, I can continue with Section 4, where the stakes get even higher. Legal threats, dangerous deals, and the intense psychological pressure on Cooper and Tommy reach a boiling point. As the episode dives deeper, the suspense intensifies with the looming threat of legal consequences. Cooper, already emotionally shattered from his breakup with Ariana, is now confronted with the harsh reality that his freedom could be at stake. The episode makes it clear that this isn't a simple court case. This is a high-stakes legal battlefield where one wrong move could erase everything Cooper has worked for. The weight of potential imprisonment hangs over him like a storm cloud, and the audience feels it in every tense glance, every whispered conversation, every uneasy step he takes. Ariana's absence makes the situation even more perilous. Without her support, Cooper is forced to face the consequences alone, and the audience senses that this solitude is both emotional and strategic. He must navigate complex legal threats while battling internal guilt and the fear of losing everything he holds dear. The tension is palpable. Each scene is meticulously crafted to show that every choice, no matter how small, could tip the balance toward disaster. Meanwhile, Galino continues to assert his power in subtle, menacing ways. His influence extends beyond the boardroom, touching every decision, every action, every relationship. The deals he proposes are never simple. They come with hidden risks and moral compromises that test Tommy, Cooper, and even the most loyal MTEX employees. The audience understands that agreeing to these deals could be both salvation and destruction. Each negotiation is a psychological game, and the stakes are raised by the ever-present fear that a single misstep could hurt someone they love. Tommy, although removed from MTEX, finds himself drawn back into the whirlwind by necessity and loyalty. His knowledge of the company, his understanding of Galino's motives, and his strategic insight make him a central figure in navigating the crisis. Yet being pulled back into the dangerous world he tried to leave forces him to confront his own vulnerabilities. This is not just a professional challenge, it's a personal test of resilience, morality, and survival. The audience watches with bated breath as Tommy balances loyalty, ethics, and the desire to protect those he cares about. The episode also explores the psychological toll on everyone involved. Cooper's fear, Tommy's frustration, and the employee's uncertainty create a tension that feels almost suffocating. Legal threats, high-stakes negotiations, and the constant looming presence of danger keep the audience on edge. Every scene is charged with suspense, and every dialogue carries a subtle undercurrent of fear and anticipation. The stakes are clear. One wrong choice could shatter lives, careers, and relationships. By the end of this section, the episode has effectively merged personal, professional, and legal tension into a tightly wound narrative. The audience is not just observing the events, they are living the fear, the uncertainty, and the suspense with every character. Cooper and Tommy are tested in ways they've never experienced before. Galino's manipulations are sharper than ever, and the crumbling stability of MTEX adds an ever-present layer of danger. The tension is relentless, and the audience knows that the climax is approaching. And when it comes, it will be explosive. Section 4 closes with the realization that the land of Landman has no safe corners. Every relationship, every decision, every move is now a high-stakes gamble. The audience is left holding their breath, anticipating the ultimate consequences that will finally hit in the finale. If you're ready, I can continue with Section 5, where everything reaches its peak. The shocking betrayals, emotional confrontations, and cliffhanger ending that will leave viewers desperate for Season 3. The finale reaches its full intensity as emotions, power, and consequences collide in a relentless crescendo. By now, every character is cornered, every relationship strained, and every decision loaded with irreversible weight. Tommy, still reeling from his sudden unemployment, is forced back into MTEX's chaos, not because he wants to, but because circumstances demand it. He becomes the pivot around which the season's final turmoil spins, and the audience feels the mounting pressure in every tense moment. One of the most shocking moments unfolds in the personal realm, the fractures in trust and loyalty among the characters. Galino's manipulation reaches a critical point. He carefully orchestrates moves that exploit every weakness, pushing Tommy, Cooper, and even Cammy into morally and emotionally complex situations. Each interaction drips with tension. Nothing is as it seems. Alliances that once felt unbreakable are questioned, and betrayal lurks in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. The emotional confrontations are brutal in their simplicity. Cooper, still grappling with Ariana's absence, faces a barrage of external pressures and internal guilt. His attempts to protect the people he loves often backfire, leaving him more vulnerable than ever. Tommy confronts Cammy over her decisions, her firing of him, her neglect of MTEX's core team, and her attempts to maintain control despite mounting chaos. Their argument is tense, loaded with raw emotion and unspoken truths. The dialogue carries a weight beyond the words themselves. It's a collision of frustration, regret, and unrelenting stakes. Meanwhile, the cracks inside MTEX widen. Without Tommy's guidance, the company begins to unravel. Mistakes multiply, trust evaporates, and even the most loyal employees start questioning the future. Nate, Dale, and Rebecca wrestle with their loyalties, torn between supporting the team and protecting themselves from the fallout. The viewer can almost feel the walls closing in as MTEX teeters on the edge of collapse. It becomes painfully clear that Cammy's decisions, while well-intentioned, are accelerating the company's downfall. The final moments of the episode combine personal heartbreak with professional peril, leaving viewers breathless. Tommy, Cooper, and the remaining MTEX team confront consequences that feel inevitable yet shocking. Relationships hang by threads, careers are on the line, and the looming presence of Galino ensures that no one escapes unscathed. The season closes not with resolution, but with suspense. Every character faces uncertainty, and every move in the coming season will have been shaped by the explosive events of this finale. By the very end, the audience is left with a sense of both awe and dread. The shocking breakup, legal threats, betrayals, and confrontations have pushed every character to the edge. Viewers are desperate to know what comes next. How will Tommy rebuild? Can Cooper survive? And will MTEX ever recover? The finale masterfully balances emotional depth with suspenseful tension, ensuring that the story lingers long after the screen goes dark. Season 2 ends not with answers, but with questions, and the anticipation for Season 3 has never been higher. Section 5 closes with an undeniable truth. In Landman, no one is safe, nothing is permanent, and every decision carries consequences that could ripple for seasons. The cliffhanger leaves the audience both satisfied and desperate, perfectly setting the stage for a thrilling third season.